You are, this is Coach Todd with Go by Coach Todd, and I see few familiar faces out there. Always a pleasure. For those of you who are joining us, what I'll do is we're going to be having a number of people join as we go. So if you need to, if you are alive, I've turned on your microphone so you can talk, but they're unmuted. So if you have a question, if you could raise your hand. If you You don't have to wait till the end. I will kind of get things going, and then we'll in a few minutes. So, by the way, I'm a big camera guy. So those of you who don't have your cameras on, you can always help me out by getting your camera on. And mainly not that I want to check what you're doing. I just want to feel your energy. I just want to be able to see you and see that I'm getting feedback, that I'm being able to land what I'm saying. So if that would appreciate that. If not, I do understand. So it's good. We got quite a few people here. So quite a few familiar faces. All right. As we get started here, what I'm going to be doing is hopefully showing you something unique. But I've also put together, for those of you who have been with and seen me do this before, I've got a new thing for you. And it's really just about how we can talk to our AI so that we can be seeing it from a new perspective. Okay. So let's get started by, if I could just see in the chat, if you guys could tell me where you're from. Just give me a little chat. I want to see some. Oh, we got a raised hand here. Hang on. Yeah, Robert, go ahead. Robert, you just have to take it off mute. There you go, and then you just answer the question. What's your question? Robert Beam? No question?
It says.
There you are. There's not Anthony. All right, Robert, if you decide you want to do your question, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll assume we're good. I'm going to get started in about a minute here. Eddie, good to see you. John Woo, Oscar, wow, quite a few. I'm looking forward to it. All right, so I'm going to give you guys kind of a quick overview of this, and I'm going to show you how to do something that is incredibly fast and incredibly easy. But what I'll do here is I'll do it in a unique way, which is to help you understand how we want to interface with our AI. Okay, and so a lot of what I'm going to be doing now is talking about interfacing with your AI is in a way that it's the who, what, how when we go into automations. So in an automation, I mean, I like to say it this way. Those of you who have been around a bit, you know, if you've ever used a CRM, the AI, or so the automation is the biggest piece. It's the most important piece. And yet it's extremely hard, right? It's extremely hard to deal with. It's extremely hard to just set up. It takes a lot of work, etc. So what we do is we say, you know what? That's what we're going to return back to you. And so this whole software is built around this automations and create workflow. So I'm going to build one very fast just to show you what's possible, because I know what to say. And then I'm going to break down what it is that I'm saying and why I'm saying it, so that you'll understand kind of what that is. But I want to go ahead and wait for a little bit ahead of time. Let's just see, as I said, I got to open up my chat. Hang on. I asked you to put stuff in the chat, and I didn't. So is the chat available to you guys? Uh-oh, we got an echo going.
No.
It's not available. Okay, well, that's probably thank you guys. That's probably an A over, so never mind. We can't do that. Anyway, we'll interface a different way. So, Kyle, go ahead. You have a question. Your hand is up. I'm just curious. Okay. If you can find the mute button there, you can ask your question. I'm going to get started in about 1 more minute at about 11:05. And the reason for that is I want you to see how long this can take. And how long this will, basically what to do this. So what I'm going to tell you this is, I'm going to create a workflow. And in this workflow, what I'm going to be able to do this is tell the AI what I want by talking to it and have it come back with what it can build for me. Now, let's take a scenario, okay? If I have I'm going to take a scenario of 1,000 leads. They're aged leads. These are, let's say, 3-week-old aged leads. And on those 3 weeks, what I want to do is rewarm those leads. And there's a methodology that we put in the software, but also in what I teach, which is what I'm going to show you. So that methodology is about how we reach out such that we build curiosity. Instead of going in and saying, hey, I'm going to call you. You know, as some of you have heard me say, is no matter what you do, when you call somebody out of the blue, you're going to interrupt them. That's just the way it is. So this way we get them to be able to come to us, or at least build the curiosity so that if you then did call them, or your AI calls them, you'll be able to then communicate, right? They'll be going, oh yeah, I'm going to talk with Anthony. Yeah, that might be interesting. And I build that curiosity. So that's what this is all about. So let's build this, okay? What I'll do is I'll go in and say to my AI, I'm going to turn it on and tell it what to do. Build me a workflow for 7 days with 5 touches, starting with 2 email, then SMS, email, SMS, and then the last touch on the 7th day is an agent AI call. I want you to be cordial, inviting, and build curiosity by building information. I want you to tell them why they should be working with me. And the goal is to get a meeting with me. Be assumptive presumptive that they're going to be wanting this meeting with me. Now I'll break that down in a minute and what that means and all this stuff. So I'm just going to basically copy this real quick. And I'm going to send this. Now this is going to take, like I said, about 30 seconds. It might take a little bit longer, it might take a little bit less, depending on what how complex you make it. So the first advice when working with AI, especially with our AI when you're building your own workflow, is you don't want to give it all the information. One of the mistakes a lot of people make is they try to word vomit everything out there and tell it everything you want. Remember, a lot of the smarts into how we communicate with the customer is in here. And once it learns how you talk, it's going to start learning more and more how to be able to replicate what you're doing. And then once it replicates that, it's going to be able to start talking like you. Trust me, it talks very much like you. It's almost kind of freaky. But what happens is it learns your lingo, your colloquialisms, the certain words that you say and the way you say them. And the AI then will start suggesting that language. Now mine is going to do that. That's how by the way, we do languages as well, other languages. So when it comes back, it's going to suggest language. And the reason I start off, by the way, with an email instead of SMS is very purposeful. An email is less likely to be rejected off the cuff. If people receive a text, this is a theory. I'm not saying it's absolutely correct, but it's what I think is appropriate, is what is happening. All calls are being screened these days. That's just the way it is. And they're all going to be very soon. And so what we do is, if you're going to call them, you're going to have things to get through that screening, and our AI can do that. But what is a little bit more effective is to send them an email. If you send them an SMS, most people look at it and they don't know who it's from. They'll say it's spam and get rid of it, and then it's already gone. Now they rejected you. The legal thing should be done any second now. Took a little longer than I expected. Which usually means I might have locked it up, but we'll see that in a second. Which means I gave it too much of a complex problem to solve. Okay, so why do I send 2 emails? Well, again, it goes back to I want them to read my headline. I want them to see what's going on with what I'm telling them. Okay, and once they know that, okay, this guy might have something to say. He's seeing Coach Todd. He sees Coach Todd. She might see, oh, well, he said something really interesting that I want to go in and figure out more on. Again, what am I doing? I'm building curiosity. Yes, so I gave it too complex. So watch this. We'll just make it simpler. Build me a workflow for 7 days that has 2 email, then SMS, email, SMS, and then agent AI, and get them to book a meeting with me. I tried to give it a little bit too much information. We'll go ahead and build this. And now we'll go back to the 2 emails. The theory is that by having 2 emails, what we're doing is we're remembering. We're using a little bit of the theory of attraction, right? Which says, if I can tell them my name, they remember my name, Coach Todd. Is kind of where I go by that. And they remember that I said something like, did you know you could borrow against your own life? Which is one of the lines I use for infinite banking. If that's something they're going to remember, they're going to remember those 2 things. But another thing happens very interestingly psychologically is, what if they just get a good feeling from how I made them feel by what I said? They're going to remember my name, and they're going to remember the feeling they felt. Okay, that's why it didn't get hung up there. It took about 30 seconds. So what I'm doing is I'm warming them up to who I am as much as I am warming up to the opportunity. So then what it does, it builds me email, wait a day, email, wait a day, SMS, wait a day, getting your meeting booked, okay, send an email, SMS, and then an AI outbound call. So that's should be 6 touches in 7 days. And remember, as I always tell people is this, remember that what is the code? It's 8 to 12 touches is what it takes to get a client, typical client. You'll get to them on the 8th to 10th touch. So if you take that thought process into consideration and marry that along with the fact that they're not going to probably answer their phone, this becomes a really good strategy just to reach out to them. So let's see what it says. It's suggesting language for me. Send an email. An idea for you, Joey, or whoever the name was. I was reading some strategies that have brought significant value to my clients. Well, this is interesting, but I'm already stopped reading. Right? He didn't grab me. Send an email. So the structure is good. I like the structure, but I'm not sure I like the language. Ready to schedule our meeting. That's a little too assumptive. And so here's what I'm seeing in my language here. Now I just do this, as you notice, some of you have seen me do this, is I'm going and I'm not checking all the wording. Why? Well, I'm not into editing mode yet. I'm still shaping the AI to who I want and what I want it to say. And that's where I was going to go next. And this is what you're going to be doing. And I'll get to type this out so everybody can see it a lot easier. Feel free to take a screen capture of this when it's done. I'll give you a minute. And if I don't, make sure you remind me. So there's 3 things we want to do. There's the who, and there's 2 aspects of the who. There's the what, and there's 2 aspects of the what. And there's the how, and there's 2 aspects of the how. Okay. Unfortunately, this is very small. We're working on that so you can see all of this. So maybe a screenshot isn't going to work. But anyway, who's the who? Well, the first who is, these are aged, like we'll say 3-week aged leads. And they are what kind of leads? Well, I got to be a little more specific. Whoops, sorry. This is where I'm going to get a bigger screen here. IUL leads. Great. Now, what is the second thing? So number 2, what I need is, who do you want the AI to be? Now, let me just explain what that is. The beauty of AI is it can be who you want it to be. Now, that could be the collector. Maybe you want it to be the person who's out there being really hard and collecting and calling them and say, hey, you owe me money. Or you want it to be the conciliatory admin who's just there to help them make sure they feel good until they get to the right person to talk to, even if that's you, because the admin is you, right? Or your cloned voice. It could be somebody else's voice too. The point being is it can be who you cannot be or who you do not wish to be. So what I want to do is tell it I am, or you can always say you are a, and what we're going to do in this case is an IUL infinite banking expert. Now I could give it a whole bunch more things to say. I'm not going to do that for this purposes because I want to open up for questions at the end. And then, well, what? Well, the what is, in this case, I want to say it's what is meet with me? That's what I want you to do is I want to meet with me. That's the goal. And so then what we do is we say, all right, what's the second one? And don't worry, I'm going to make sure we capture this for everyone on this. I'll send this out to everybody because I think this is helpful. So what's the other what? What do I want? Well, okay, I want a 7-day educational drip, which is what I said, right? That's what I built. And then the last piece is the how. And this is just the simple, okay, I want to use email and SMS, agent AI, blah, 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 right? I tell it the how, and then I tell it how many days, like the spacing, or what I call cadence. So now, all of those things are what I did. You're not going to be able to make a screenshot, so I do apologize for that. I'm going to capture this, though. Okay, so, and I'm going to put it in the chat, which you can hopefully see, and you guys will let me know. If you can't write in it, I'm hoping it will come up. If not, I will fix that for next time. So anyway, there's somebody can maybe tell me if that, or just write it in there. Robert, do you have a question? Go ahead. Before I jump into this, you want to wait? Okay. So I'm hoping you guys can take yourself off mute. If you cannot, I know I have a few that I might have to do that with. And I'll do that in a minute. But what I want to do now is I'm going to go ahead and finish up and tell it what I want to change. And that's this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell my AI. This isn't bad. I like the structure. So keep the structure as is, but let's spice up the language. I want a little bit of arrogance into the language that says you're going to need this, and make it truly funny. Now, would I send this to my clients? Probably not, but you never know. I do this more for you guys to see what is possible and what is capable. And while it's doing that, I'm going to get everybody else on allow to talk so that hopefully you guys can take off your mute button. And then I can get to some questions because I'm about done here. So now let me just explain what I'm doing here. When you talk to your AI, there's a few key things you want to do. Number one is iterations, iterations, iterations. Always think it's not about how much you throw at them. It's in fact, it's better that you don't throw at them a whole bunch of stuff. It's a lot better if you just say, build me this, now add this, now add this, now add that. Because you saw I locked it up earlier. We've actually put guardrails because what we found is clients were giving it too much information, and it wasn't able to spew it because when it would put out garbage, right? So we just locked it down. And that way, if you're doing it, it's just you went too far. Let's get a little bit more granular, right? Or sorry, less granular, excuse me. So let's look at my first email here, and then we'll open up for questions. So to send the email, or actually I want to explain what I just did here. Your lucky day. Let's be real. You were probably hoping for a stroke of genius to fall into your lap. Well, here I am. So that's the arrogance and the funniness. I have an idea for you, so it's so good, I'm almost mad I'm not using it myself. I'd explain here, but brilliance like that doesn't fit in the text box. So what did it do? It created the arrogance that I wanted. What I wanted you to see was not that there's the arrogance, but that you got to see that I could tell it what to do, and it will create that. Now let's look at the SMS. I sent you a couple of emails about scheduling a quick valuable review. Let's connect this week. It'll be worth your time. Quick, straightforward. But did you notice something? There's no booking link in here. How are they going to get to book with me? There's the booking link. So when you create your booking link, you can put your Calendly booking link here. You can put the one that you do with us in here. You can kind of put whatever you want as your booking link. Obviously, you want them to book it. The other thing I suggest, and this is an interesting thing to do, is I'm going to show you something, which is take 1 minute to show you this, and then I will give you questions. This is my working workflow. And I show you this primarily to show you a couple of my emails and then a text that I send. Okay, it's not the right one. Oh, I know what's going on. I'm in the wrong account, so I'm not able to do it because I'm in a demo account. So I will fix that. So in here, I'll go back to my automations. Now, okay, this is interesting. Hang on a second. I have one of my support people on the team. That would be good. Calendar. Okay. I'm going to open it up for questions, and I'm going to find out. I think my system has locked up and I am not accessing something. So let's open it up for questions. Anybody? Let's go ahead. Just take yourself off mute and let me know what you think. Anything you have.
My name is Bruce, and my question is, one, what AI do you use? There's so many out there, and they have different purposes. If I'm coding, which I don't do much of that, trust me, but nonetheless, what AIs do you recommend? And it would be really nice to see the prompts that you use. That would give
Oh,
me,
good.
as kind of an AI intermediate, a way to get right to what we want to do. I like your language. It's certainly less formal than I use, but obviously it's effective. So that's okay.
I would be, Bruce. That's an awesome two questions, by the way. So on the second one, yeah, I'd be happy to share my prompts. I think that's a great way to help you guys to see what I'm doing. I'll find a way to make sure that can happen. But I'll probably share some with this group right after the meeting, maybe an hour or so after the meeting. Um, on the first question, what AIs do I recommend and what do I use? Those are kind of two different things. Or what do we use here? This was our AI was built on a conglomeration of Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. But we close it down primarily because we deal with people's data, right? So we're not open to those. So we're opening a portal to be able to update to newer and newer information. But we have to be careful about what we do there. But anyway, that said, it's built on an LLM that is three different things because each one does something slightly different within the AI, within our software. What I think the better question to ask is, what is this built in? It's built in the MCP, multi-codex protocol model. And that's what, if you kind of look up the MCP model for coding, it'll tell you all about how AI is coded and what the LLMs are capable of doing, et cetera. And it's really cool because that's where things are going. It's all about the API. And this is really important because it goes to what you were asking and tying into the last question, which is, it's all about the prompt. It truly is all about the prompt in AI. The second thing, though, is about the access point for the AI, is what I like to say. The second thing with the AI is what you want to do is, the MCP protocol, it is about the communication through API. So if I'm going to communicate with another app, I only have to do the API. What's an API? It's an open two-way language translator. So that we can ask, but we have to ask the right question. So again, it's the same thing. It's all about the prompt. So now going back to, what one do I use? I use three of them. I use ChatGPT for deep thinking. I use five. I've been using five. I'd use Claude for creating things. I think Claude is excellent at creating what I want, like a sales platform, a sales VP, visualization. And I use Gemini for creating JPEGs and other types. So does that answer your questions?
You did.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jerry, you got your mic off. What's up?
No questions, just taking the information in and giving it some thought.
All right. Go ahead, Tim. Good to see you, man.
Yes, this is Pastor Tim. Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little late, but
okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Very good. I have a problem with the system itself. Not that I have a problem. I have a problem with the knowledge of the system. I like everything that you're doing, but remembering some of these aspects is one of my biggest problems. So when we want to make these changes and want to make these updates in our system, do y'all give assistance in doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we have people in the support team. I'd be happy to make sure you get with Abid. It's Abid at, I'll give his email to anybody who wants it. Abid at ABID at unlockedcrm.ai, and we'll make sure we get you taken care of, Tim.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is this recorded? I apologize. I missed the first few minutes, so
Yes.
set some of the context. Okay.
Absolutely, it is recorded. And the context from the beginning, because there was a few people, is I was really just kind of filling space until 5 minutes in. And then and it has all to do with when you talk to your AI, use iterations. And if you can use iterations and speak, you don't want to give it word vomit. A lot of us try to tell it everything we want it to do. So here's a way to think of it. When you're talking with AI, think of it, you're talking to yourself out loud. That's really all it is. And that way it'll come out very, very clear. What do I want it to do? How would I explain it to myself? And do it. It's a little bit of an interesting thing, but by the way, it's the observer. It's just trying to be the observer instead of the experiencer. Does that make sense?
No, yes, in fact, I've found that to be quite true. You kind of got to break the tasks and the expectations down into blocks and then plug them together versus trying to do a dump of everything you'd like to imaginably say. And so, yeah,
yes,
I agree wholeheartedly.
And remember that it's thinking like you're thinking, and in that it's trying to catch up. It doesn't have all of your knowledge, so if we dump on it, it's trying to solve everything at once instead of trying to just solve that which you asked it to solve, because we gave it too big of a problem, right? And that's all it is. And the other thing I want to tell people is this. This is really important. Those who stayed on, you're going to get a little tidbit, a nice nugget. When you're talking with AI, talk to it. Don't type it. Talk to it. Talk to the AI. So important. Number one reason, some AIs will learn from your voice, like ours, because we do the voice as well. We're listening to the voice. We're listening for cadence, because that's part of what we evaluate for you and what you can ask our AI to do for you. But not all of them do that. However, what they do is this. You talk differently. I challenge each of you to think about this. You will talk differently when you type versus when you talk, because when you type, your brain goes faster than your fingers, and so you then judge. It's an interesting thought process. Yes, Bill?
With the AI, are you able to tell the AI, like say I'm on the East Coast and I'm doing a phone AI campaign, let's say Arizona, Utah. Can I tell them to wait till a reasonable time to start calling, or are they just automatically going to dial out if I have leads from like Jersey and
Oh, yeah.
York, Arizona, Utah?
Absolutely. In fact, both the email, text, and all three of them, an agent AI calls respect the agent's time, the client's time zone, not your time zone.
Okay.
And make it go further. We have blocked it off as 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So you want it to go longer, you have to actually go tell it to go longer than 7 p.m. That's just one of the things that we put in from a respect perspective. Yes. Anything else? Well, this has been awesome. If there's no other questions, other than me proselytizing more, I would just say that thank you for trying us. I will tell you this, our software is revolutionary, and it's got some speed bumps in it, as some of you have experienced. And I just wish, or hope that you'll give us the time to get these fixed. We are working on them good, and I'm actually really excited about where this software is going. And maybe more importantly, I'm really excited about what's possible and what we can do from the leads that we have and the software that we do. Because we're adapting. Think of it this way. We're adapting to what's going on with the market, which is we can't just call everybody because they're not going to answer. So this is the new world, and I welcome you all to it. Thank you so much for your time, and you can always email me at todd@unlockedcrm.ai. Take care, all.